Good evening. I'm Robert Floyd, your town moderator. I'm going to share a lot of information with you this evening, so break out the popcorn. I'm going to read the articles for the annual town meeting, which is scheduled to be Saturday, August 15th. If there's a weather situation, we will attend at August 22nd, the next Saturday. I will read what we've been working on. The planning committee for the annual town meeting has been doing wonders to make everything safe for us all. So I will read what we've been doing so far. In accordance with our Board of Health, Commonwealth recommendations, and Select Board determinations, our annual town meeting 2020 will be held on Saturday, August 15th, outdoors, since Boston prohibits it being held as a Zoom meeting. Town meetings are not subject to the open meeting law, nor restrictions for public gatherings. So no remote meeting, period. Since it's cooler in the morning, less heat, less bugs, main gate opens for annual town meeting registration for registered voters at Labrie Field at 8:00 a.m. The annual town meeting will commence promptly at 9 a.m. Only registered voters will be allowed inside the fence ATM area. This is a precaution in case contact tracing is needed for COVID-19. Others can use bleachers outside the fence or stand near the fence. We can do this. Lots of work is done by our planning team so far. Ed Gibson, Town Administrator, John Martin, Select Board, Lucy Dalton, Town Clerk, Chief Ian Ellingsworth, Police Department, Chief John Workman, Fire Department, Randall Kemp, Highway Department, Charlie Kanicki, Health Department, Carl Keener, Deputy Town Moderator, Jen Ramsey, Executive Director, Easthampton Media, Jerry Swanson, Health Director, Tammy Walunas, Citizen Volunteer Extraordinaire. The Select Board did due diligence to issue an abbreviated warrant as best they could. The annual town meeting should be no longer than an hour, maybe an hour and a half. An hour was recommended by a Southampton Board of Health in their July 16 letter. There will not be any tarps nor tents for the voters. Our highway superintendent and police chief created a viable plan to accommodate the ATM parking. The plan is to set up parking and signage the night before. Numerous handicap parking signs are now available. Cars will be directed to parking spaces by 2 police officers. Registered voters without masks will be required to sit in a separate area. They will have a separate microphone. Aisles will be marked off with spray paint on the grass to allow safe passage for emergencies, EM tripod-mounted video cameras, and easy access for those sitting in the rear to steadily approach the 3 community microphones up front. The layout of town-supplied chairs for social distancing will be marked out by our highway department and volunteers with gloved hands on Friday, the day before our ATM. On the day of our ATM, town-provided chairs will be set up at 7 a.m. We no longer allow you to BYOC, bring your own chairs. 2 handicap accessible porta potties will be placed behind the dugout closest to the parking lot. Someone will sanitize each one after each use before the next person uses one in accordance with our Board of Health guidelines. Porta potties will be sanitized in between uses by our highway department or others. Trash barrels will be placed close to the porta potties. Face masks are not mandatory, yet highly recommended. Some will be given out to those in need. Those not wearing a mask will be offered one. Otherwise, they will be directed to a side area to be seated with other non-face mask wearers. Face mask wearers will be allowed to use their own mic, not any of the 3 community mics. During the meeting, to protect the Select Board members, one Select Board member will read most of the motions from their own microphone. EMTs will be present in a cooling tent shared by our police and fire departments with bottles of water. A town ambulance will be at the ready for any medical emergency prior to 8 o'clock a.m. Lucy Dalton, the town clerk, will increase the staff for counters, tellers to prevent delays. There will be 3 aisles separating 4 seating areas, 1 for non-mask wearers. Non-residents in designated area outside the fenced ball field. Those seniors with challenged mobility are invited to sit up front in the first couple rows, making it easier to approach the 3 community microphones. On a day of our ATM at 6 a.m., our sound company, CJC Sound, will set up the PA system and provide up to 50 covers for mics to be replaced after each speaker by their technicians. CJC will provide 3 wireless mics for main audience with face mask, 1 wireless for audience without mask, 2 each for FinCom table and select board table, and 1 at the moderator podium. Vendor will provide staff and, again, 50 mic covers, which will be changed between speakers. Sound for the ATM will be available for hearing impaired voters in the audience on an FM channel. Bring earbuds. Buds, not Budweisers. Do know each voter has the right to motion, amend, approve, or deny each and every motion under an article. When any voter standing at the community microphone motions to table or kill a motion under an article being discussed, no debate is allowed before the vote. So no need to explain one's viewpoint, whether it's about the motion itself, lack of information offered, or the weather is too hot at the time. Voters will be allowed to leave 1 row at a time by the moderator at the end of the meeting. Maybe I need to brush up on my joke telling, I don't know. Okay. Article 1, unpaid bills. To see if the town will vote to transfer for 2 previous fiscal bills totaling $1,748.29 to the prior year bills account for unpaid bills from previous fiscal years. One is for $334.29. It's a WEX gas card payment misapplied from fiscal 19, and $1,414 MIA insurance deductible payment from FY 17. Said sum to be taken from water retained earnings, WEX gas card $334.29, and operating stabilization MII insurance $1,414, or take any other action relative thereto. I will intersperse with the reading of the articles much of my normal moderator talk at the beginning to lessen the time for all of us on the field. Our annual town meeting will be recorded for rebroadcast by Easthampton Media on our public access channel 191. Moderator's rules, not town council's legal opinion, apply while our town meeting is in progress. Article 2, annual operating budget for fiscal 2021. To see if the town will vote to fix salaries of all elected officials for the fiscal year 2021 for the period for July 1, 2020 to June 30, 2021, and further to raise and appropriate $17,653,725.83 monies as identified in the town's annual operating budget from taxation, $27,700 from WPAT loans, and $100,000 from ambulance fees as attached for fiscal 2021, or take any other action relative thereto. The moderator has the right to divide the question, and for a budget this size, the moderator has continuously divided the question. We vote on each section and discuss each section one at a time, and then when we're all done voting on each section individually, there's no need to vote on the entire budget as a whole. So the first section will be general government, and it'll be a total of $776,467.09. Second will be public safety, and that's for $1,978,991.93. The third section, education, $11,481,040. Fourth is public works, $1,009,554.06. Five is health and human services, $172,055.91. Six, culture and recreation, $170,901.90. Employee benefits, $2,329,362.65. Eighth, debt service principal, $232,383. Nine, debt service interest, $62,890.71. And total, $18,213,647.25. Your moderator permits commercial TV cameras, a privilege, not a right, because we're not subject to the open meeting law, if and only if they agree to remain outside the gate and in a designated area with a media sign right nearby. The essence, the necessary ingredients of our town meeting only requires the presence of our town clerk, our town moderator, a properly executed warrant with return of service, and in Southampton, a quorum of 25 voters in accordance with our select board being granted permission to do so by the Commonwealth recently to lower the quorum from 50. Article 3, Transfer Station Enterprise Fiscal 2021 Budget. To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate or transfer from available funds $200,055 to operate the transfer station enterprise according to the following budget. Wages, $34,272. Operating expenses, $143,620. Environmental compliance, $4,000. Indirect cost, $18,163 for a total of $200,055. And that $175,107 be raised from transfer station enterprise revenue, $6,785 to be taken from retained earnings, and $18,163 to be appropriated in general fund indirect costs, or take any other action relative thereto. My role as your town moderator is to facilitate, provide an open process that voters trust, and administer rules and guidelines in an even-handed manner, fully, impartially, consistently, regardless of who you are, not to assure any particular outcome. I ensure those who wish to address this town meeting have opportunity, and the integrity of our town meeting stays as intact as possible. Both sides will be heard on each article. Moderator's authority is over process, not outcome. I leave the outcome to you, the fully informed voters. Procedures accomplish things instead of manipulating town meeting proceedings. Article 4, Water Enterprise Fiscal 2021 Budget. To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate or transfer from available funds $813,039 to operate the water enterprise according to the following budget. Wages, $203,376. Operating expenses, $163,732. Capital outlay, $133,900. Indirect costs, $93,946. Debt service is $218,085 for a total of $813,039, and that $675,526 be raised from water enterprise revenues, $43,567 from retained earnings, and $93,946 appropriated in general fund indirect costs, or take any other action relative thereto. I help every dedicated voter as I serve the town, so if you're inexperienced, hold your back. Allow me to walk through the process during the annual town meeting. Anyone may challenge my process with a point of order yelled out loud from your seat. I will invite you to one of the 3 microphones up front, where you then describe what pending action is frivolous, irrelevant, illegal, or contrary to proper procedure. Any attempt to misuse it as a device to usurp the floor will be dealt with firmly. Article 5, funding for Norris Elementary School PA system. To see if the town will vote to transfer $20,593.54 from the Capital Stabilization Fund to the Norris School capital budget to fund the replacement of the PA system at the Norris School, or take any other action relative thereto. So what's the duties of the voters? Your responsibility. Be the legislative branch of our town government for our annual town meetings articles. You have power to make laws, the power of the purse, and to exercise your freedom of speech. Speaking and participating at a town meeting is a right, but like all rights, it needs to not be abused nor denied. Our ground rules are courtesies, guidelines, important to set them early, then stick with them. Town meeting is a legislature subject to its own rules within the Commonwealth laws. It needs rules. One of my duties is your moderator. Why? Simple efficiency is important, so the business of the meeting can be accomplished more accurately with fewer errors and less waste of time. More importantly, the protection of the rights of individuals against illegal encroachment, unintentional or otherwise. Article 6, funding for gutter repair and sealing at Norris School. To see if the town will vote to transfer $25,000 from the Capital Stabilization Fund to the Norris School capital budget to fund the repair and sealing of the gutters at the Norris School, or take any other action relative thereto. Our town meetings are conducted in accordance with general laws, our town bylaws, traditional customs, and practices we have followed for many years, with guidance by the principles and rules of conduct in Town Meeting Time, a handbook of parliamentary law. Organic process as our customs, traditions, and practices evolve. The morning of the annual town meeting, we proceed with what we have since 1773. When town meeting named our then village Southampton. Town meeting works if you want it to work, not for you alone, but for the whole community. Once a motion is read and I have asked and received a second, then I invite a pro and then a con statement. Article 7, funding for replacement kitchen oven and hood fire suppression systems at Norris School. To see if the town will vote to transfer $11,075 from the Capital Stabilization Fund to the Norris School capital budget to fund the replacement of the kitchen oven, $9,000, and the hood fire suppression system for the oven and range, $2,075 at the Norris School, or take any other action relative thereto. Our pre-appointed counters, when needed, will count a section as a pair, then compare counts. When they do not agree to the count, it resumes for a complete and accurate count to be announced out loud so all can hear. They count from front to back. All discussions by the voters must be relevant to a motion under a warrant article and within the scope of each article before us, merits or lack thereof for the motion. I always allow you to speak your minds, speak your heart and mind, not read what others have written. This ties the moderator's hands to maintain an open balance town meeting that is fair to all. It interferes with the moderator in the execution of town meeting duties. Article 8, transfer for Norris School replacement of teacher laptops. To see if the town will vote to transfer $23,000 from the Capital Stabilization Fund to the Norris School capital budget to fund the replacement of teacher laptops at the Norris School, or take any other actions relative thereto. It's when, after a comment is ruled out of order or scope, the speaker continues to debate the moderator. That's when the speaker is directed to sit down. I don't use a gavel, which certainly may drive the point more dramatically. I do not want drama. I will not allow a voter to take a town meeting hostage. Article 9. Transfer for police portable radios replacement. To see if the town will vote to transfer appropriate $18,000 from the Capital Stabilization Fund to the police capital budget to fund the replacement of the 12 portable radios at the police department, or take any other action relative thereto. Speaking at the mic, one of the three mics. Ready to contribute something new? Please approach one of the three mics up front. Stand in line 6 feet apart to be recognized in turn by the moderator. First come, first heard. I'll recognize speakers only standing at the three mics, and we got a fourth mic for the non-mask wearers, unless it's a point of order. Address the moderator, state your name and address clearly. Please direct your opinions, questions, answers, and address all remarks to me, your town moderator. Do not speak directly to any voters. This is designed to prevent lecturing, bullying, intimidation, and cross-examinations. Did I read Article 9 already? I did.
Yes.
Article 10, funding for SUV cruiser for the police department. To see if the town will vote to appropriate the sum of $56,512.74 to purchase a new SUV cruiser for the police department, and to authorize the treasurer, with the approval of the select board, to borrow the sum of $56,512.74 for said appropriation under applicable sections of Chapter 44, Sections 7 and 8 of the general laws, or any other enabling authority, and to issue bonds and notes therefore, or take any other action thereto. That requires a 2/3 majority. No salesmanship, no theatrics, no body language, only content from the voters, please. Town meeting conduct is the moderator's responsibility as authorized by our general laws, Chapter 37, Section 15 and 17. You may speak up to 5 minutes at a time, provided you stick to the subject of the motion at hand and address me and not the town meeting audience. And no more than 2 times on any article, except to correct an error or answer a question. Please allow everyone an opportunity to be heard before your request be heard a second time on an article. Remarks concise, to the point. I will allow anyone who previously spoke to address the meeting a second time with a new point or rebuttal. No repetition. Repeat, no repetition. Before you vote yes or no, you individually are free to question, to amend, not encouraging this and will not discourage this either, and to table or kill any motion that is legislate, all in a civilized way. Article 11. Transfer for fire department thermal imaging cameras. To see if the town will vote to transfer or appropriate $8,100 from the Capital Stabilization Fund to the fire department budget to fund the replacement of the thermal imaging cameras at the fire department, or take any other action relative thereto. No comments of a personal nature, no naming of names to be made by the voters. There is never any occasion for you to address another in a second person. It will not be permitted. Cross-examinations are out of order. Rude behavior, especially shouting, bullying, lecturing, personal attacks, will not be tolerated. Anyone unwilling to comply with these rules will be removed after their 3rd warning. So I announce at the meeting, let this be your first warning. Article 12, funding for HVAC upgrades at Hampshire Regional High School, to see if the town will vote to appropriate the sum of $55,450 for its portion to purchase an upgrade to the HVAC system at Hampshire Regional High School, and to authorize the treasurer, with the approval of the select board, to borrow the sum of $55,450 for said appropriation under applicable sections of Chapter 44, Sections 7 and 8 of the general laws or any other enabling authority, and to issue bonds and notes therefore, or take any other action relative thereto. And this requires a 2/3 majority. To be successful, presenters in the audience must understand and clearly communicate the details, reasons, and implications of their proposals. Anyone unsatisfied with lack of information for an article may make a motion to adjourn the town meeting to a time certain for the presenter to obtain the necessary information, and everyone would then vote on it. Article 13, revolving fund spending limits. To see if the town will vote to set the revolving fund fiscal 2021 spending limits for such revolving funds as follows, or take any other actions relative thereto. Program of purpose, the use of fund, and the FY21 spending limits. Those are the three columns. I'll read each one and share the three concepts for each one. Conservation, operating expenses, administrative expenses, $10,000. Conservation forestry, oversight and management of the conservation areas, including forestry land, $10,000. Council on Aging van, payment for operation of COA van, $31,000. Dog licensing and control, expenses related to administration of licenses and dog control, $8,000. Electrical inspections, payment for electrical inspection services, $20,000. Fire department brush services, fire chief to purchase brush firefighting equipment, $5,000. Park commission, operating expenses, administrating expenses, $10,000. Planning board, administrative expenses, $10,000. Planning board, consultant costs, $15,000. Plumbing inspections, payment for plumbing inspection services, $20,000. Tax title related costs, $10,000. Weights and measures fees, $3,000. And zoning board of appeals, ZBA expenditures, $5,000. Or take any other action relative thereto. Simply because someone states something, it does not make it true. A majority leaning toward approving or denying does not make it right in itself. Listen courteously, vote exactly as you think right. Thank you all for your patience and respecting everyone for our upcoming annual town meeting on August 15th. Article 14. Report of the Community Preservation Committee, to see if the town will vote to hear and act pursuant to Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 44B, on the report of the Community Preservation Committee for the fiscal year 2021 community preservation budget, and to appropriate or reserve from the Community Preservation Fund the following sums of money as recommended by the Community Preservation Committee for committee's administrative expenses, community preservation projects, and other necessary and proper expenses in the fiscal year beginning July 1, 2021, with each item to be considered as a separate appropriation. Administrative expenses, $7,500. Reserves from fiscal Year 21, estimated revenues for historic resources reserve $33,000. From fiscal 21, estimated revenues for community housing reserve $33,000. From fiscal 21, estimated revenues for Pomeroy Meadow Road land $56,341. The Pomeroy Meadow land purchase is only a memo item and will fulfill the 10% requirement for open space reserve, or take any other action relative thereto. This is a long one. I usually try not to read it at a town meeting, but we need to hear it. Call the question. You'll hear often someone is impatient, eager to vote, go home. They'll yell out, call the question. We don't allow anyone to call it out from the audience. We ask someone to come to the microphone. I generally ignore and don't accept the motion because I may see one or two of your hands up or walking towards the microphone. So with a few more minutes, let that person speak, and then I'll ask if there's anything more. Hearing none, we'll vote. So let me read the procedure that we have at town for the call of the question. Discussion continues until there are no more comments to be made, or until two-thirds of a town meeting vote to end the discussion and then vote on the motion on the floor. Two-thirds is a most high threshold. It allows many of you to speak on each issue before us at our town meeting. A motion to move the question is a request to end debate and move directly to vote on the article. To move the question, you must be recognized by the moderator at the mic, and the motion to move the question must then be immediately mentioned. You cannot recite your opinion on a motion and then try to shut off debate by moving the question at the conclusion of your comments. And we'll continue with it, but let me go to Article 15. Funding for First Congregational Church for accessibility ramp for community cupboard pantry. To see if the town will vote to transfer the sum of $12,000 from community preservation funds to First Congregational Church for a handicap accessible ramp to the community cupboard food pantry to provide a means of a second exit. Said funds to be transferred from community preservation surcharges, historic preservation account, or take any other action relative thereto. Continuing, move the question. Please understand that the moderator reserved the right to rule that a motion to move the question is out of order. If I believe the motion is unfair or prematurely limits the voters' rights to hear answers to questions or to be better understand an article, a motion under an article. Unless unanimous or very clearly a majority, I will use tellers for account. No clear two-thirds voice vote, we do not have two-thirds, and debate on the main motion continues. If I hear two-thirds, yet 7 of you in a town meeting, actually for any of my call on a vote, when you doubt it, you challenge the moderator's call, stand in position, then we use tellers for a card vote count. When no member seeks recognition, I may call for a vote. If the debate is cut off by a positive vote on the motion for the previous question, I will immediately call for a vote on the motion that was being considered, or an amendment. If a two-thirds vote on the motion for the previous question is not obtained, debate continues. Article 16. Funding for Conservation Commission for safe access of trails in Manhan Meadow Sanctuary. To see if the town will vote to transfer the sum of $7,000 from community preservation funds to the Conservation Commission to restore safe access to and for the use of the trails at the Manhan Meadow Sanctuary, which were damaged in the microbursts. Said funds to be transferred from community preservation surcharges, undesignated account, or take any other action relative thereto. The moderator is handout neutral. Handouts we allow are considered background material and must have relevance to an annual town meeting. No literature is to be handed out in the town meeting field. Records are retained for official town meeting business, critical to DOR, bond counsel, and attorney general. Normally, we require any handouts, which can be anonymous, pro or con, for any motion, to be delivered, again, anonymously, under the door of the town clerk's office by noon, the day before town meeting. Since our town meeting is on a Saturday, town hall closed on a Friday, Thursday, I'm asking that all handouts for this annual town meeting be delivered by August 12th, Wednesday, by noon to the town clerk's office. Article 17, funding for Conservation Commission for 20% match of Mass Trails grant. To see if the town will vote to transfer the sum of $17,000 from community preservation funds to the Conservation Commission for the required 20% town match for a Mass Trails grant to improve additional areas of the Manhan Meadow Sanctuary Trail system. Said funds to be transferred from the community preservation surcharges open space account or take any other action relative thereto. No one has ever been denied to speak at a town meeting I have moderated. Any accusations to the contrary are plain wrong and not supported by the data. Article 18, funding for Southampton Historical Society for restoration of the Clark Chapman House. To see if the town will vote to transfer the sum of $53,000 from community preservation funds to the Southampton Historical Society for restoration and stabilization of the Clark Chapman House. Said funds to be transferred from community preservation surcharges, historic preservation account, or take any other action relative thereto. I asked at the beginning if there is a clearly stated and compelling reason to move an article to an earlier position for consideration. I will ask for an objection. If there is objection voice, we then await a motion and see if it secures the vote required. Other towns allow the town moderator to do that. We have something in the bylaw that prohibits that. So those are our articles for August 15th. Weather threatening will be called off, if it is, at 6 a.m. on that Saturday, August 15th, by our town administrator. And we will then reschedule it for the next Saturday, August 22nd. If we're at our August 15th meeting, and for some reason we need to continue by majority the meeting to another day, it will then be Sunday, August 16. So this presentation will be rebroadcast several times on Easthampton Media, your channel 191. I encourage you to take it in a time or two. I look forward to seeing everyone on August 15th. There's been a lot of extraordinary help by town officials, and I'm very proud to be part of a committee that has accomplished so much for your safety and benefit. So looking forward. See everyone on August 15th. Cheers.